There we go. Alrighty. Hello, everybody. Don't know if anyone can hear me, but if you can, give a shout out. This should be working, I believe. Do 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 do. You can hear me nicely. Okay. Well, good morning, everybody. We're gonna do a little tubbing today on this tub here. This Ricefish tub. Gonna tear it down, get out the fish, put away the plants. Part one. Part two is another stream. We're gonna build a paludarium inside for the Ricefish, like we did in the other live feed last week. So we're just getting all our supplies together here. Several supplies I'll need, several buckets of different shapes and sizes to collect water. I'm gonna bring this tub water inside. This tub water is gonna come inside with me, and we're gonna tear down this baby. It's probably a good view for everyone. Got to get more buckets. And my coffee. Coffee's key. Coffee's key. Put my coffee somewhere, but we'll find it. I got to get more stuff. More stuff. There's my coffee. Okay. Alrighty. This is, sorry about the live stream mix up with the titles. I accidentally edited the time and then I clicked live and then I said stop and it ended the live stream, so I had to just restart a new one. We'll have to change the title to what the original one was. Hopefully people will find it. Here, put out some more buckets. Let's get the nets out. It's really mild today for November 1st. This is kind of crazy. I'm out in just a undershirt and flannel shirt. It's like in the high, it feels like 60 degrees. So not the best time for me to get rid of my plants, but it's going to get cold. So we'll give a quick shout out here while I'm drinking my coffee. Hello, Cinnamon. Reverend Y-Rock is here. Please give us a morning attention. Cinny and Bob. iGirly. Okay, you know what? If I don't tell... All right, so here we are. So this is where the platinum Ricefish were. Still looking good, this tub. Even the water lily pads are still green, which tells you that we haven't had a frost yet. I haven't seen any ice or ice crystals on any of my tubs, and it's already November 1st. That's unprecedented. So, um, welcome to global climate change, folks. Don't start me on that one. Um, because it's so warm, I'm not going to double insulate my hands today. I'm only going to use regular pond gloves. I usually put gloves over my hands, and then I put these on, and my hands stay dry. You want to get a good brand. Don't buy those cheap aquarium ones they sell. Um, I mean, there's all that's left now is what, Chewy? That's the only online fish store left. Remember there used to be a whole bunch? Remember when there used to be just mom and pop stores? And then Petco and PetSmart came along? And then the online stores were mail order stores when I was a kid. In the back of the magazine, you'd have places like That Fish Place and um, Pet Warehouse. One of those became Dr. Foster's and Smith. They were bought by them. And then Petco bought Dr. Foster's and Smith and kind of ruined it. It's weird. If you go to Petco online, their prices are sometimes better than what's in the store. I've bought stuff at Petco on sale online and picked it up at the store. And in the store, it's a higher price. Um, I think Pet Mountain was great for fish stuff. They're gone. That fish place is still around, but they've had so many ownership changes over the years. You don't hear about them. That used to be the place to go. But these are real pond ones. Sometimes you can get a really good pair of these just at Home Depot in the plumbing section. So a few things that we're going to do here. First thing you do when you take out fish, as I said yesterday when I did this stream, is you got to collect water because you want the water to be clear. I'm going to fill up their acclimation tub or their tank with water directly from their tub. And look, I've already got pine needles in here, which is not great, but I can work with it. And the reason for that is your water from your tub is going to be so different from your tank water. So this is, and again, they're rice fish. My level of caring and attention is not going to be at the same level as with other fish I would keep outside. This tub is above ground. I can't keep these out here all winter. They'll just turn into ice cubes. So I'm just going to gather as much water. They're going to go in a paludarium that we're going to set up. That water is pretty brown, even when you take it from the top, if you see. So we're getting some buckets here. Let's get a display tank going to look at our wonderful rice fish when we pull them out. Okay, we'll put them there. One, two, three. I could use a little more water. Take it from the surface when you can. Very gently. Remember, folks, my pop-up live streams are an antidote if you didn't get a good night's sleep. So I'm warning you ahead of time. This is not a Stephen P. live stream or a Foxy live stream. That is well produced and filled with fun and frolic. It is similar to a Jeff Kane live stream, but Jeff Kane is like Jeff is the Bob Ross of Fish Fam. He's got that calming voice, and sometimes I still watch his live stream of just him fishing on the river. You just see his boat moving across the river. That's his whole live stream. I'm like, thank you, man. Okay, next up is water hyacinth. I'm gonna give them a shake. Could there be rice fish eggs on here at these nighttime temps that we've been getting? I doubt it, because of the nighttime temps are triggering them not to breed, but there might still be. So I'm sorry if there's some eggs on here, but let's take a look. No, I don't see any on here at all. This is for the compost pile. Nope. This is when water hyacinth gets its hardest, is when it gets rooted in. If you really want water hyacinth to look great, believe it or not, plant it in some soil or gravel. The roots go in actually, and it looks pretty good. Oh, you know what I forgot? I forgot my knife. Let me go get my knife. So we got the water hyacinth out. That's for the compost pile. And we're going to do some shaving. Let's get a pair of scissors and let's get a razor knife. Make our lives a little easy here tonight, shall we? I'm walking downstairs under the deck where my potting bench is and getting a few things. I hope everyone had a good tub season, by the way, and that you enjoyed it. I know I enjoyed meeting all of you this year. That was a big highlight for me. If you saw I was interviewed this week on Randy's Aquarius podcast. He's turned it into a YouTube channel. That's a great show just to listen to while you do water changes. He interviews aquarists. He's been doing it now for like 7 years. And he brought it back, and he interviewed me on starting fish clubs. And I give my take on alternative, less stressful ways to form fish clubs that I highly recommend, by the way. So that's on the Aquarius podcast, either on your podcast app or now on YouTube. They're really good to listen to. He did an interview with Rosario Lacorte until he passed away a couple years ago. You know, he's known by every hobbyist around the world. And he was America's greatest living fish breeder. He taught us so many things since the 1950s. And he has 3 interviews with Rosario. The first one he did is just with Rosario before Rosario got ill. That's the one to listen to, because Rosario reveals many of his secrets, which are no longer secrets, but So let's see here. Okay, so let's go through some plants. Here was one for the paludarium. I'll show you something here. You can see now this tub is up on the deck. It gets a lot of winds. So you could see some of the cold freezing wind damage on the water hyacinth, that brown. Whereas my water hyacinth down below the deck, which we did yesterday, are still perfect looking. So these tubs freeze and go dormant faster. They also get more sun. So again, location, location, location where you put your tub. This is orange sunset loosestrife. This is a Lismachia, just like Creeping Jenny is, but it gets these little white flowers, and the color, it gets white stripes. It's already starting to go into dormancy. You can see. Great spiller plant. Look at the root mass on this. That is a wall of filtration right there. That's pretty crazy. This turned out to be a very good filter. So if I planted in soil, I could probably get better flowering, but giving up that filtration is really tricky. So we're just going to do some shaving now. Well, you know something? I'm going to put this directly into the paludarium So I don't think I'm going to shave it. I'm just going to get rid of some of the dead foliage. Folks, please wear gloves when you use a razor knife or any knife. So I'm going to keep this like it is. This is going to be an instant filter. So this is going to go in the water that I just collected earlier over here out of your screenshot. And that's going to come with me into the paludarium. And that flowers for me over the winter too. It's insane. That sunset loosestrife, Lismachia. If you can get that at a pond store, I recommend it. All right, here we have, this looks like lizard tail. Yes, this is the red stem American lizard tail, the red stem variety. One of my favorite plants. Full sun to deep shade. This guy, I have found, does not do well in a paludarium. It needs to overwinter itself. So we're going to let it do that. Some plants, even though you bring them inside, they go, I really need to sleep. Can you leave me alone, please? Now look what I'm going to do here. See this little piece that came off? This won't survive the winter, but we're going to take this piece and bag it up. We're going to bag that piece up, and I'll show you how we do that later. So that's going to go in a different bucket. And that one's going to be bagged up with peat moss like I showed on a video earlier and brought to auction. Lizard tail gets a lot of offshoots that come out of its pot, which is kind of cool actually. Little things come out of the tiny holes and develop into full-size plants. It's kind of cool. This has a real nice spicy aroma to it. There's an Asian variety and there's an American variety. So it's a pretty ancient plant, right? When the continents were one. Or they have a common ancestor. Both are very versatile. And if you have a deep shade tub, it's a go-to plant, in my opinion. I'm just going to shave here, because this one is going to be boxed up or put underwater. I'm not sure which one yet. Thinking this year I might do my hardy water lilies underwater in the few tubs I have underwater, because they're so heavy. I don't like boxing them anymore. They're a pain in the tuchus. So that one's right there. So here comes the part that's painful. Cutting away all this nice green foliage. Oh, that smells really nice. Supposedly it's used in Asian cooking. The genus name is Saurus, which, as you can imagine, means lizard. Dinosaur means terrible lizard, right? So Saurus. And this is the red stem variety. If you can find this online, I highly recommend it. So it's in a little pot. It does great. It could go up to, I've had this down to 12 inches deep, from here down to the water level, and it still sends off shoots. So I'm going to put this one not in a bucket. I'm going to put this on the ground to drain. I want this one to drain. I'm going to put it in the shade. I don't want it to dry out too bad, and just let it drain there. Because I'm going to box that one. So we're going to try to show you all the stuff we're doing today. Okay? All the things we're doing today, we're going to try to show you. As we always do. So what else is next here? All right, bricks. Clay bricks with holes. They do not displace as much water. Oh, look at this. Look at this insanity. This is the lizard tail brick. It started creating a plant through the damn brick. An offshoot came out. I don't know how this happened. I must have broken it apart from here when I pulled the pot out, and then the runners just started growing themselves. Look at that's a whole nother lizard tail right there. That's going to be bagged up as well. There's another auction item or a gift for a friend. I love that plant. All right, so let's go to the pickerel. I've stopped feeding these rice fish. When it gets cold, they're cold-blooded. I know they have stomachs. I, f- I feed them occasionally. Pickerel, we're going to clean this up. Which one is this? Oh, this is lavender pink. This is a pickerel with pink flowers. It's available at pond stores. It reminds me more of the round or standard pickerel in terms of its growth pattern. So we're going to shave this off here. Box this puppy. These box real well, and they also bag real well. Pickerels. You see the dark roots there? You'll notice that the hyacinths also have dark roots. That's not unintentional. They are in the same family. They're related. Pickerel and water hyacinth. Ancient plants. Their flowers look similar too. The little tiny flowers that make up the big flower on the pickerel look like little water hyacinth flowers. So there, got a nice shave out of here. So that's prepped. That's going to be box 2 because I'm going to box these marginals this year and leave underground for the water lilies. So that one's going to go to drainage behind me in the shade to drain. Take up all this for the compost bucket here. Makes really good compost, by the way. It really jumpstart. If you have a compost pile with leaves from the fall and you toss this stuff in here, it heats up nicely. It adds a lot of nice nitrogen and some bacteria, I find. So let's see, any questions so far? I'll just do a quick one here. Hey, Joe. Foxy, good morning. Foxy, you got half an inch of snow last night. Oh my God. Hey, I want to give a shout out. Foxy, your Halloween show, the amount of effort to create that, I am so impressed. Show was so much fun. And then Chattanooga Ed did a show afterwards. I'm sorry that I missed them. I got on yours, I missed Ed's, but really, my hand's off to you. My my hands off to you. That would be terrible if I took my hands off and gave them to you. My hat off to you, my dear. By the way, I have to ask the obligatory question. How's married life treating you? Thought you'd like to hear that. All right, this is variegated American cattail. Sitting, look at its root mass is so intense. This is the thriller plant. This is going to be your main filter. If you went to the class, you saw how I described thriller fillers and spillers. You see this? This is actually attached to its platform. This is my main filter, and that is intense. So this one's going to need some serious cleanup. Let's see if we can break it apart first. There we go. I'll put this guy right up here. Please don't fall. You can see all the roots that came inside here. Hey, look, the scientific name for these roots is Scotty's beardy eye, is what we call this stuff in the hobby. Have you ever noticed how many men in fish fam have beards or facial hair? It seems to be like a requirement now. Is there anyone, even I started growing a really tight shave. What's going on here? Is this part of the cult? Is there like a requirement? It's like, please, sir, I'd like another. Is that what's going on? Trust me, there's a conspiracy. This is secretly a cult or a group that sells crystal meth. I don't know, but something's going on here. Okay, now we have to deal with the big boy. Let's bring him down. Woohoo! Let's figure out a better way to do this. The wind is really kicking up, so I don't mind putting this up here because it's got water in it, but anything lighter is not. Let's put this here. And then we can get out the rice fish, the platinums. Let's try to give a nice little shot of what I'm doing here. We're going to clean this up. This is variegated cattail. This is Acorus calmalis, one of the American cattails. Um, and it's variegated. I'm a sucker for variegated plants. I like it better than regular cattail. It is, like a lot of variegated plants, a little more delicate. Sound still. Darn it. You should be hearing sound right now. Can anyone hear me now? All right. Okay, one more time. Bob, tell me if you can hear me right now through the headphones and if I'm loud enough. Okay, don't know what happened, folks. My apologies. My shocks usually work. All right, what else here? We get. Okay, let's pull this out. I'll keep checking. If you have no sound, let me know. Thermometers. Okay, some thermometers suck and some are good. This is the one that I believe Hagen makes. And one of the problems with these thermometers, like even with the aquarium, it's a piece of paper inside. So if that paper is not put on exactly, the thermometer's off. I prefer thermometers, and you can get them at a swimming pool filter store, where the gradients are etched on the plastic, and the liquid alcohol or mercury, usually alcohol, sits in there. So I have a bunch of these. I test them every spring, and the ones that are bad, I chuck. So let's look at the pond temperature in here if we can. Let's see. They're also hard to read. I don't like these. Okay, this temperature in this tub is 45 degrees. 45 degrees in here. So keep that in mind when we pull out the fish, okay? Here we go. This is a water lily called, I believe, yeah, this one I believe is, oh, this is Paul Harriet. So this is a changeable water lily. I'm not going to drain this. I'm going to put this one underwater. Or should I? I don't know if I'm going to keep this one. I usually keep water lilies 2 years. This one was okay. I didn't get as much flowering as I wanted it to. So a little disappointed. There's one, two. So what do I do? Well, let's clean it up first and see what we get, okay? Let's clean this sucker up and see what happens first. And let's do some thinking. If you have a big pond, you don't have to take up the foliage off when you sink them, but you're just adding more nutrient load to your water. So I like to get rid of as much of that as possible beforehand before I sink them down. But in nature, that's not what happens, right? In nature, they let everything rot and the nutrients go back into the pond. But you're dealing with large bodies of water. So if you have a big pond, you can do that. That's really not an issue. But for smaller little home ponds, I didn't do that. So I'm looking here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. At least 5 plants there that have to be divided. So let's see. That's at least 5 plants that have to be divided there. All right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Paul Harriet is a changeable water lily, which means it changes its colors from yellow to orange to red over a 3-day period. Most changeables are not really great at flowering. This one was okay. It's a dwarfy version. The reason I like it is it stays small. So I'm debating, do I box it up so I can give it away? Or do I sink it in the ground and do it again next year? Decisions. If I'm going to box it up, I need to drain it now. I might drain it anyway. All right, so you see here? Let's drain it anyway, and then I can think about this. I'm trying to reduce, I always want, like Kelly, I always want more water lilies, but that is a problem because I just don't have the space for more water lilies. So there's ones, I usually give my water lilies and all my aquatic plants 2 seasons. 1 season to adjust and a second season to perform. They don't mean the cut, they get booted from the team. So this is so pot bound. Look at that. I hardly have any water coming out. That is just completely pot bound. Again, these pots, like I said before, that have the lip and the super industrial UV pond plastic, these are the ones to invest in. You'll have them for your whole life. They can't burst through this pot. This is so pot bound. There's I can't get any moisture out of this. That's crazy. So that was easy. We're going to put this off to the side in the shade. Now you notice here, see the little indicator leaves, those little leaves? They're indicator leaves. When it's underwater, it tells the plant whether to grow. Those are going to stay small until the sun is at the right spectrum and the temperature of the water is the right temperature, and have the hardy water lilies start to grow. So I think we're ready for ricefish. While I ponder, pardon that pun, it was terrible by the way, what to do with that water lily. Because I have other ones that I like to keep year after year, right? I keep one Visa year after year. Chromatella I keep year after year. Colorado. So I'm going to sink all those, I think. I'll probably box that one. I'm going to box that one. Okay, I'm going to skim the surface first and then look to ricefish because they're dumb. And you know what my test for fish intelligence is whether they escape a net. If they escape a net and then they remember the net like a week later, that's a smart fish. That's just my little animal psychology. Okay, none in here. Let's see if I have any other thing down below here. No, I did not put any seashells in this tub for buffering like I usually do. So let's see what's going to go on here. All right. Yeah, so I see, I generally don't, I hope I'm pronouncing your name right, by the way, Mr. or Mrs. Llewellyn there. I'm not familiar with your first name and the culture. My apologies to you. I don't like to divide in the fall because then it's hit and miss for me, unless I'm in a warm climate. I divide in the spring now. We're going to put the little ricefish bucket there, and we're going to now get the Laguna Pond Net. Woohoo! From Hagen. I know, I talk ad nauseum, but it's the go-to net. If you don't have this for tubbing, then you're just making your life harder. So here we go. Let's do a figure 8 in the tub, and let's see what we get. There's a little rice spheres. Yep, there they are, bouncing around there. You see them bouncing around there? There they are right there. Okay, let's get them in. That's only 2 so far. I pulled a bunch of these out, brought them to club meetings. I brought some to the Clash, brought them to my own club. Notice I did not rinse out that net because there still might be fish in there. I don't want to just discard what's in the net until I'm sure. Oh, here's a lot more. All right. Yeah, this one's caught in the schmutz. Oh, look at all. Yeah, I hate this tub because there's so many. They just keep spawning. They're all caught up in the schmutz. If you see that, look at this. See, this one was all caught up in the schmutz there. So what I'm going to do now is the rinse cycle, because they do get caught up. All your fish, especially the baby fish, get caught up in this stuff. If you do this, and you'll find another one, which we did. Another platinum. That's a female. Yeah, goodness gracious. Look at her there. These things just keep breeding on me. You notice there's leaves in the tub because it is fall. Kelly keeps her rice fish out year round. I did that too. They will live under the ice. These Japanese Madakas, Japan is not a tropical climate, so they do well. There's another little one. Hey, sweetie, come on. After I net them out, I usually put a little poly aqua in the water. That is basically Nova Qua without the chlorine and chloramine and ammonia remover. It's just electrolytes and just to give a slime coat to them. Other people use salt. Salt is great. When you net fish, throwing a little small palm full of salt in a big 5-gallon bucket really does wonders to keeping your fish alive. I saw that from the guys down at the Carolina Aquarium Society in Raleigh when we went fish collecting. They didn't lose a single fish. I was shocked. Handful of salt in the collection bucket, and the fish did great going home. Because as you know, native fish, you bring them home, they really don't like it. Another rice fish. Come on, sweetie. I'd love to get rid of this. Let me try to get rid of as much garbage as possible first here. Nothing here. You see why I love this net? And I have a holding tank now, right? I could put it right here as a holding tank if I had a tub right here like that, right? I could walk away and go drink my coffee. It's about 15, 20 bucks. The best place to get your pond stuff is Webb's Water Gardens online. If you go to Webb's, um, you sign up, you'll get the point system, so you can earn discounts as you order more. Every new member can get a 10%. Every new first order is like a 10% coupon. I don't know how they make money, but they're the best prices for pond stuff. Fertilizers, baskets, perforated baskets, fertilizers, nets, these gloves that I wear. It all depends on your season. Like where Foxy is, I don't know, Foxy, you have to tell me whether rice fish survive under the water in your ponds there up in the Great White North. So, all right, now I can go faster through the aquarium, through the tub here. You see, if I had a regular aquarium net, the handle would break by now or bend. And it's also the mesh is too fine. You say, well, how can you catch baby fish if this net has a more open net system? Because the detritus in the tub and the algae form a little coating over the larger holes and hold the fry. There's another one. You can see his beautiful color. We'll try to get, I'm going to get him. Come on. still picking up leaves and stuff. So that's the one thing about doing this in the fall. I get leaves in the tub. But like I said before, I really like my hardy plants to go through a full frost cycle because they transfer a lot of their sugars into starches into their tubers and to their rhizomes for winter. It's part of the natural cycle. I don't see any babies in here. I see some small ones, but no babies. So these guys have stopped breeding over the past couple of months. We had some cold nights. Those cold nights kind of trigger them. It's like a signal for these temperate species fish, I think. And then in the spring, the slight warming change during the day triggers them. They've evolved to spawn and not spawn at certain times of the year. Goodeads, if you're keeping goodeads, I gotta tell you, if you can keep them colder over the winter, and then in the spring you raise the temperatures either naturally or whatever, they do better. The spawns are bigger. That's been my experience. Jim Langhammer taught me that, and it works. It really works. You keep your goodeads at a constantly high temperature, you're not going to have them as long. They just don't do as well for me. They're from the Mexican highlands where it gets cold at night. So I think I'm out of rice fish here because I've been taking them out of this tub for many events in September and October. I'm not getting any more here. Let's keep making the figure-8 motion. And I'm scraping the side along the side of the tub as I'm making this figure-8 motion. This is the easiest way to get your fish. Notice, you can see why I wanted to take the water out first. You can see how murky this is now. Yeah, I'm done. That was the second one. Let's do the third. 3 strikes and I'm out. Let's go along the top a little bit. These guys went to the bottom as soon as I started tearing out the tub. They're usually always on the surface. And platinum ricefish are probably my favorite for an outdoor pond or tub because they just shine like little LED lights. They're designed, like most Japanese fish, to be viewed from above. In an aquarium, they're kind of sucky because they just look like white fish. All right, I'm going to use my favorite, the fluval betta net. Oh, I love this thing so much. I'm going to write a poem about it. Hard frame, low drag, and if I need to go deep, look at that. They sell cheapo knockoffs versions of this on Temu and Amazon. They suck. This is the fluval betta net. Get one for your fish. I'm just going to take out this schmutz that's in here. And we're going to take a look at these guys. Let's also, to calm them down a bit, let me go in the compost bucket. I'll give them a couple of pieces of water hyacinth, which will keep them calmer while we look at them. They're very quiet right now in there. Let's look from above if we can. I'm counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 of these guys in here. And so what we're going to do here, I love having these critter keepers around. I know they're pricey now, but the knockoff ones that they sell from China, like most stuff from China, you don't know the quality level. And they can crack. Get a nice original critters keepers They used to make these things out of virgin plastic. Virgin plastic doesn't crack as much. Um, so these guys are going to go down in the fish room. I'm going to acclimate them in here though. So I'm going to lower this water level down to about just an inch. I'm going to add some tap water. Rice fish are like sabrinids. They're real hardy, and I don't have to acclimate them. I usually acclimate my fish over a 5-day period, but who cares? They're rice fish. You know, I got so many, and they acclimate really quickly. That's why they're the most bulletproof fish. I don't know why they don't sell them in stores. I don't know why they're not sold in pet shops. So I'm just going to acclimate those over 24 hours to tap water in that container. And then we're going to build in part 2 of this feed their paludarium downstairs in the garage where they're going to be all winter at about 45 degrees. So I'm going to now take this tub and drain it. So let's go see if I could get my transfer pump. Actually, should I do a transfer pump or should I just drain it by hand and get the exercise? I did transfer pumps for the ones downstairs. I'm debating what to do here. I do need to, how much water do I have for these container? 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, I'm going to get the transfer pump. We're going to get the transfer pump. Let's get the transfer pump. Because I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 tubs on my deck here. And the clock is ticking. Clock is ticking, folks. So this is also known as a plug-in sump pump, or if you have flooding, essential item to have on hand, frankly, because it takes water from the surface down to just like all the way down to just almost the, you know, down to the floor level. So it's handy to have. Good price for them is at Harbor Freight. Should be also known as Harbor Freight, also known as where the cheap Chinese crap stuff is made that you buy. But if you're only going to use a product like a tool once in a while, Harbor Freight's a good option. I have tools in my tool room I had to use for maybe one job, and I've never used them again. And I'm like, I paid so much money for a Craftsman tool, when really, if I had a cheap option, I would have done that. So it all depends on how often you plan to use your tools. This is a rubber hose. I like rubber hoses because they don't kink, they don't leak. It's a 3/4 inch hose, so it can transfer a large volume of water, but they are heavier. And if they not hit something along the way, they will knock it over. So I'm going to drain right down to the bottom here over my deck. I need to get an extension cord now. And I need to drink some coffee. So while I'm drinking coffee, I'm going to answer some questions. Yeah, real winter is January, March for you, Llewellyn, where temperature is low 30s. Same with me. You must be in a zone 6. Yeah, so in the 100-gallon tub, I was doing that too. I was storing my plants in my 100-gallon stock tank outside. And I told this story a lot of times. I don't know if you heard it. In winter of 2009 and 10, we had a bad winter. I lost my entire plant collection because the tubs actually buckled. And the only thing that remained was a white native hardy water lily and yellow flag iris. I do not want to have that happen again. So last year's winter was also really tough. Last year's winter, I lost my rice fish outside, and I had them in an in-ground 125-gallon preformed pond, and I lost them last year. That pond got rock solid. So, don't tempt fate. If so, I'm just warning you. That's why I don't do that anymore. I also don't think it's good for the plastic. So, Small World Aquatics. So, oh, Bob, so you got one of the nets too. Great. Yeah, of course, they freeze solid. Oh, wow, 7 feet is great, Foxy. Autocross is here. I leave my rice fish outside. Yeah, I've left them too, but again, I lost them last year. You know, weather is not consistent. So thank you. We'll take those hands in for this any morning. Good morning. Good morning. Okay, so I am going to go get a cord and plug this baby in. And you can all meditate while you watch the water level slowly drop down. Oh, ah. Everyone breathe with me. Ready? We're all going to do some breathing exercises now while I go get the cord. All right. I want everyone sit comfortably. I want you to take a deep breath and count to 10, breathing in all the way to 10. Ready? Here we go. Hold that breath for a count of 10. Exhale over a count of 10. Let's try it again. Let's breathe in, and I'll count for you. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Not easy to do. But if you do that every day and throughout the day, your lungs get stronger. And you'll feel more relaxed and calm. Usually when I'm talking to Scotty, I have to do this constantly to keep my sanity. Or if I go on a Vibe stream and Vibe starts talking about cottage cheese, I just say breathe. Breathe, it'll be over soon. He'll move on to brisket. I like this reel-based multi-plug here. Are you on? What's going on here? Come on, cooperate. There we go. All right, folks, we're draining. Why, thank you, Lily. You're a good counter, Lily. That was some good counting you did there, Lily. Thank you. All right, everyone. As we watch the water drain, let's all breathe in for the count of 10. Exhale, exhale any breath from your lungs. Lily, you're going to count with me nice and slow. Here we go. Inhale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. You just lowered your blood pressure. You just stretched out your vascular system, which will have a positive effect for several hours now. Do you know a recent meta-analysis study came out? They showed the best exercise for blood pressure is isometrics, like wall squats, planks, lying down and raising your arms and feet above the ground and holding that. Many people can only hold it for a count of 10, but then you work your way up to a count of 15 and 20. You do a bunch of isometrics like that, it has a dramatic impact on blood pressure. So if you don't like to exercise, which I don't, but I have to, isometrics like that come in pretty handy. So, and I'm drinking coffee while I'm doing this, so that's not helping my blood pressure, but I need my coffee. I need my coffee. Don't judge. It's an addiction. My problem is I drink coffee at night, which I shouldn't do. I'm a real night person. I like the night when it's quiet. I get things done. I'm usually on my personal PC because I'm involved in a lot of stuff. Fish clubs, bowling league. During the summer, I was doing some videos here for YouTube. I really like the nighttime, and that's not good. I really should just go to sleep. All right, this is draining down. I'm just going to hold it here. There we go. Now I'll drain this down all the way down to the bottom. Yeah, I bought this because I've got 30 tubs, and I also drain a few of the in-ground ponds down and put fresh water in them. There we go. I know people with big fish rooms with African cichlids and catfish. They use these to drain their tanks down too. And then they just backwash them and fill it. But if you ever see these on sale, grab one. They're just handy to have around for emergencies, or if one of your tanks explodes, which is rare, but if you ever forget to turn the water off in a water change, they work really quickly. We had a problem with my washing machine outflow during the summer, and my laundry room got flooded. I brought this out, and it drained it right down to the floor, which was awesome. All right, I'm done here. I'm going to click it off. Let's get a wide shot now, shall we? Time to do a wide shot, folks. We're going wide. We're going wide. Looks like I can't go that wide. Can I? Yeah, I gotta lower the legs. Here we go. We'll lower the legs here a bit. All right. Here comes the fun part. So satisfying. It kind of floated down, because it's round. It didn't just, and so there we are. So we are going to end this now. I got to put some stuff away. I'm going to set up for for part two, which will be building the Ricefish paludarium. I'm going to put these plants away over here. Going to box them up. Maybe I'll go downstairs with you and box them up. Why don't we do that together if you guys want to hang out? All right, maybe we'll do that. How's that? Maybe we'll potentially do that. All right. Because I have a box right here, easy box right here that I could do. So I think that's what we're going to do. So we tore down the tub. We prepped the plants. Now we're going to do some boxing of these plants here that I'm going to box up. And then part two video, once I set that up, was going to take the Ricefish. We're going to build a paludarium down in the garage, the cheapo quick one, where they will overwinter. So we're going to bring these guys downstairs right now. I'm going to set up and then I'll move the camera downstairs. Before I do that, here we'll just keep it on this tank here. Let me put it on the tank that's closer to where I'll be so the Bluetooth works. Still got to do these tubs here, which are not going to be fun. This was my blind cave tetra tub that I keep trying to breed. I love blind cave tetras. They don't breed for me outside, but I keep trying. Microfish. My Congo tetra second year in a row did not breed outside. I had them in a single 150 gallon tub. They handle the cold okay, but I brought them in early because they are tropical fish. I have them in a show tank now. What is a pond python, Foxy? I'm curious. You got to share that with me. You've intrigued me. By the way, tell Lily thank you for counting with me. So I'm going to go set up the camera and the stuff, and we're going to together box up some plants. I will then schedule part two, which will be scheduled in about a half hour to an hour, where we're going to build a paludarium downstairs. If you want to watch that, that'll be a pretty quick pop-up. So stay tuned for that one, where we're going to build that paludarium. So I'm going to go bring the stuff downstairs, and we're going to together show you how I box up some plants. And then after the boxing, we'll probably end the stream, and I'll set up to build a paludarium with the Ricefish that we collected in this stream. And then we'll show you how I build one. It's just like I did in the previous live stream where I built the paludarium for the white clouds. It's just a way for me to store plants and to store cold tropicals, as I call them, cool water tropicals. So I store them in my garage because I put them out every year. My fish room is not big enough to keep them there. And my plants get a cold cycle, which is good for them because they're natives. My goldfish go there too. Again, I don't have really deep ponds here. I have 3 tubs that are sunk. And so let's see. I'm going to bring down the water lily. the Paul Harriet. Let's bring this downstairs and then I'll move the camera. Okay. We're gonna go down to my potting bench, and I'll show you my setup there, where I repot and process plants. My plant collection is about 100 species and cultivars, plus backups. So in the winter, between bagged plants and backups, I'm storing like 200 plants. I know I have a problem, don't judge. All right, come along with me. It's a 4-foot long python tube that's wider. Oh, I want that. Ooh, I want that, Foxy. Send me a link to that. I'm curious about that. I can hook up a fountain pump to that and put that on power mode then. Okay. Everyone's still with me? Good. All right, let's do some winter cold moist storage method for doing plants. Just another method, not the only method, but it's if you need the space and if you just do tubs, you don't do ponds, this is a good way to store your plants. If you're not going to do a paludarium in the garage. All right, let's make sure I don't trip and fall. If I do, you guys can call 911 for me, right? You can do that for me. Fish box that you get from your fish store. Can I have a box? Sure. You can have a box. All right, here's my setup. Sand, safety zorb, calcite clay, pea gravel, and then I have composted soil from my water lilies the previous year, which I used to replant my water lilies. That'll be a spring session. We're just going to focus on this for now. All right, that's a good view for everyone. Thank you, Foxy. At least someone cares. No, I don't put that bucket in the garage. I'm going to show you what I do with that, Peter. Okay, so this one's been prepped. You see the indicator leaves are on here. I'm running out of peat moss. I've got to order some peat moss. Could use vermiculite, or I could use some other things. But I am running low. Yeah, I don't have a lot at all. So this thing could okay, so fungus is not much of an issue for me here. I've got tubers in the ground. So I'm going to use some safety Zorb instead on top of these. I'm just trying to hold in the moisture so it doesn't dry out and preventing some fungus, but I definitely need some more peat moss. Wait a minute. I think I might have some. I have some little bit of seed starting medium called Promix. Anyone know what Promix is? Promix is what you use to start seeds. It's a mixture of peat moss and vermiculite. Professional growers use it. My wife's was a certified master gardener at Rutgers, and she uses this a lot. So let's try that. Okay, here we go. Little sprinkle. Foxy, if you're still there, I just want to point out there's been many excrement-themed shows that you've had, from the Spooky Dookie to the previous Dookie. So I'm a little concerned about you and Dee Dee if you're getting into some weird stuff. So, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with that. In fact, it makes for a good makes for a good stream. I mean, Branton is loving this now. He's like all excited. All right, so that one's on there, a little on there. That's just going to keep some of the fungus down. Let's see how many I could store in here. That one's off over to the side. What else do I got here? This is the lavender pickerel we did upstairs, all prepped. Little peat moss on top. It's another one. Jody has one of these too. These are the seed starting or the potting trays from Gardner Supply Company in Vermont. That's the go-to garden place for stuff that's actually quality, that lasts, and is designed for gardeners. Great store. If you're ever up in Vermont, you have to visit their stores. This is a really good one to have. You can get some other ones on Amazon, but any one you get, it's solid. It has a lip to hold water. It's easier to do this stuff. This is the lizard tail. A little on there. And I might not do the water lily in this pot because I have the cattail here. You see, I'm trying to get the peat moss over the places I cut. I don't want fungus getting in there. So that's just a little tip I do. If you use this cold moist storage method, if it's underwater, it doesn't matter. It's so much easier to store these underwater in an in-ground pond setting, which I do. But I'm not going to store them in an outdoor tub. I'm in Zone 6. Those 2 winters over the past 25 years where I lost plants, I'm not going to have that happen again. So this is the cattail. We're going to put this in the box. I like these square fish boxes because I can hold, this is a 7-inch pond basket. They're hard to find. You can get them at pond stores. They're expensive online. This is one of the things where online, like Amazon, pond supplies are so much more expensive. They're much cheaper to go to Webb's Water Garden online or go to your local pond store, and sometimes they're cheaper there. The market is different with pond supplies. So this is a 7-inch square basket. Works nicely. It's great for shallow rhizome plants, cattails, pickerel, even iris. And they're not really heavy because they're small like this, you see? And I can fit 4 of these in a standard fish box, which is neat. So let's see. This is going to be too big, I think. This is a slightly larger one. Yeah, I'm going to keep that as a separate box. So I'm going to put the lizard tail in here. I'm sorry, the pickerel, the little lizard tail. And I could fit some more plants. Let's see if we can just get some more plants in here. While we're here, why not? Let's get her done. This here is a 50-gallon Rubbermaid stock tank. This is a weird shape. This is a very shallow tub. Never put this in full sun. Even though it is wider than it is deep, and will probably do fine for any of the anabantoids, frankly, or tiny fish that don't take up a lot of oxygen. It is really shallow. It's even more shallow than the tubs that we work with upstairs. So I put this, you notice it's right under my deck. Let me go back, 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 back. You see? There's the top of my deck. I can walk underneath my deck because my property is on a slope, right? So I have this right at the edge of my deck. That's northern exposure right there. This is enough to grow plants. The power of the sun, it's fine here. So this is my nursery tub where I throw stuff I don't have room for. I have a couple of paradise fish in here for Jeff Pelham. But let's pull out a few things here. Oh, this is great. There's no label. Oh, I know what this is. Yeah, this is monkey flower. This is another plant that really, you see that? It pop right out. This goes dormant quickly. I don't even need to clean this one. Look at that. The roots have come off. Let's drain this and put that one in there in the box. More water hyacinth. All right, what else is here? What is this little guy? This is a small pot, so I would not want to put this underwater. Oh, this is another Alisma. Yeah, this is the Alisma. Alisma, I talked about in my stream yesterday. This is called aquatic baby's breath. This is just an offshoot. The one I showed yesterday was huge. You see the flowers there, the baby's breath? They get little white flowers. The leaves look like a Radican sword plant. It's called the American sword plant. When it comes up in the spring, the underwater leaves look like a Cryptocorn wentii. So it's an interesting native plant, goes dormant quickly, like most of the native plants. They go brown early. They go, it's time for me to go to bed. So that one's going to go in the box as well. And we have here an iris. Our nemesis, yellow flag iris. Why? I have a yellow tag. I use different colored tags so I know what the plants are. Probably one of the best filters you can have in your tank. Invasive species might not be allowed where you live. So I'd never bring this to auction, ever. Unless there's someone I really know personally, I will give it to them. It has outcompeted our beautiful native blue flags. Iris virginialis and Iris versicolor around the United States. It'll flower in the shade. You'll throw a tuber in the forest. In the forest, without any water, it'll sprout and grow and flower. It's crazy. This is a variety I got down the street from where I live. It was living in a forest in a fern garden that got a little moist, and it evolved to a super tall version. So I keep these around for filtration purposes. The flowers I don't care much for. Yeah, they flower in the June, but the flowers are not that great. They don't last long. I prefer the hybrid irises. So we're going to also put that in the box. That should be good. I'm going to keep these other, there might be some paradise fish in here, so we're going to keep these guys here. So while those are draining for the next few minutes, I want to drain the water out of these so they're on a gravel surface. I don't like to drain stuff on a non-permeable surface like that because the water won't drain. Gravel is great to drain them, frankly, because the water will go straight down. I want the plants moist. I don't want them sitting in water in a box. Sitting in water underground is fine, But in a box, you're going to get fungus, and I don't want that. At least that's been my experience. This is all based on what I've been doing for 25 years. It's not it's other people do at another home. So let's find another box for him. Let's give him his own box because he's going to be heavy. He has a wide lip though, so I'm going to go in my shed here. Here, come along with me, shall we? Come with me. I'm going to go in my shed here. It's where I store my boxes of plants. About 20 boxes. We're going to pick out a box for him for that Paul Harriet. Let's see. Should I give him his own box? Might be better. I don't know if I can fit him though. Oh, there's one. I keep styrofoam boxes, much to my wife's dismay, because they do take up a lot of room. I fully admit that. Ooh, do 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 do. Do 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 do. Okay, folks, we have a box for Paul Harriet. So I like to put a little paper at the bottom of the box, like newspaper, to absorb the water a little more, just so it doesn't drip sometimes out of the box if there's a leak. But this is a solid pot I have this in, so I'm not too worried about this one. All right. These get heavy. Yeah, so he's taken up nearly all that pot, all that box right there, right? He's really taken up a lot of that area. So I'm going to do a little combination. That lizard tail I have is small, so I think I can squeeze that one in there. I want to put as many in here as I can, so I have as few boxes as possible. That works. Here is that lizard tail. That works. Let's go get our other ones now that have been draining. Okay. Let's get a better shot here of everything. All right. So let's do the little mini basket of Alisma, which was a cutting I did. Little peat moss. This is nice and small. I can squeeze this one right in the corner here. Can I do it? Can I? Can I? Can I? I can. All right. That's a box that's full, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, most important thing to do. Label. So, the plants are all individually labeled. That's good. But you label your box. Why? Because when you do armchair gardening month in the winter, where you plan out your tubs, you want to know what's in each box. So I'm just going to take a sticky note and write down what's here. Lizard tail, U.S. American version. Lizard tail. Also, that was Alisma, the Denville variety. And what was that third plant here? That's lizard tail. Oh, lavender pickerel. A little basket of lavender pickerel. So you may ask, why am I using these small little baskets? Because I want to leave as much room for the water lilies as possible. So I switched to small baskets to maximize the water lily space in those patio ponds. I'm going to label this thing right there. This is a garden marker. It's better than a Sharpie. Unless you use the industrial Sharpies, which you can, or if you can find one, buy one of these for $2 on Amazon. That brand works. They work underwater. Use plastic tabs. Don't use popsicle sticks either. They turn brown. Then you can't read the thing. Learn from my mistakes, people. A little piece of sticky tape. Here's this new sticky tape I got. Hey, Foxy, check this out for shipping. The new Scotch box lock packing tape. Guaranteed to stay sealed. Extreme grip in tough conditions. From 3M and Scotch. Anyway, I got this. I thought it was cool, so I got some. All right. So, prepped, boxed. Now we're going to cover. Again, just another alternative method for storing your pond plants. There is no one right method, but this is a very safe method for doing this. You're not going to worry about your plants freezing. So that's boxed up here. I'm not going to tape it because I gave a little give, you see, because these things are going to start sprouting over the winter and they're going to start moving up. It's not my best place to store a hardy water lily because they really are going to start pushing leaves up out of this box. But that's okay. Its real growth is going to happen in the spring anyway. So this extra piece of plastic is an extra precaution to keep them from drying out. I've stored plants in my shed in a box and they dried out and they got too cold. So that one is done. And let's put it back. Let's put it back in the shed. This shed is attached to my house. And it actually has move some things around. It actually has a heater in the ceiling because building codes, if any of you have ever had construction done, you've noticed your building codes have gotten more stringent over the years. Because I have one little piece of my baseboard heating running across the ceiling, I have to have a heater in this shed. Well, so a heater as a thermostat, I think it's redundant, but you never want a bursted pipe, right, in the wall. That's horrible. So what this heater does is I can set it as if things drop. I don't want things going below 30 degrees. So it's staying like right at the freeze level during the winter. And it's in the box and it's covered. And the plants do great. I mean, they really come back great. I've never lost a plant this way, except when I've had a bad fungus happen. What I'm doing now is just putting this thing back on the shelf. Hence my huffing and puffing. Okay, so that one's done. Let's do the other one now. Shall we? Okay. I'm take a break here and take some questions. All right, Ted, how are you so sexy? Well, that's a good question. I'm still trying to figure that one out myself. Um, we're making sure everyone is regular. Thank you, Foxy. Fishcapades, you're going to get me thrown off of YouTube. Yeah, he says two girls, one dookie. Yeah, so let's have Foxy and Dee Dee show. I want you to change your name, your show from Hot Mess Express to Two Girls, One Dookie. Oh God. It's National Cinnamon Day. Is it really? Is this truly National Cinnamon Day? We have to celebrate Cinnamon Girl, don't we? Well, thank you, Fox. Yeah, I think today anyone who streams has to celebrate cinnamon. Yeah, you can buy any brand works. I just got that at on a whim. I needed packing tape. I wanted something really sticky, um, that will stay attached. I was using other brands, and by the time February comes, the packing tape was peeling off. Because I think it just because of the room that it's in. So that's why I got that one. All right, so let's go get the other plants that have been draining now. That have been draining. We have the yellow flag iris here. This one I can go underwater. Am I going to waste time? This is the one that survived even being frozen solid like an ice cube. Uh, so no, maybe I won't. Um, I gotta. This is the decision. I'm gonna put mostly hardy water lilies under the ice this year instead. Um, and maybe not put this one and see what happens. See, what do I have? I have Attraction, one Visa, um, Red Spider, a few different ones that I could sync. Um, I'm going to try doing hardy water lilies under the water this year and see how they behave as an experiment. The real hardy ones, not the ones that have Nymphaea mexicana in their background. So maybe I'll just box this one, um, for shits and giggles. All right, let's see what I got here. Do 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 do. All right. I'm be like Emily Bougie Beach Fish when she's on her stream. She goes da 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 as she's scrolling through stuff. It's like that. I actually look forward to that. Something I look forward to hearing. Emily has a very calming voice, doesn't she? At least I think she does. She pairs well with Jody, which has the get it done voice. You know, the get her done voice and the calm voice. That's a great combo, that show. So I'm just going to use this weeder tool because my knife was left upstairs. I got to get a knife for that. Don't be an idiot, Ted. Let me just go grab a pocket knife. Shave this sucker. Talks amongst yourselves. You can make fun of me too if you like. That's fine. Oh, you know what we can do before then? Let's do a bagging. Let's do a shake and bake. Let's do a lizard tail shake and bake. Shall we? Shall we do the shake and bake together? Let's do the shake and bake. That's what we're going to do because we're special. All right. If you remember earlier in the video, an hour and a half or so ago, we were cleaning out that lizard tail. I've kept it in water, which I want to do. All right, these are the rhizomes from it. Okay, remember these were the, sorry, not the rhizomes, the offshoots that were coming out of the pot. So I'm going to put these in a bag like this, and that's an auction item. That's going to be, wrap them up like that. Take a little peat moss in the fish bag, put them in there. Because if I keep these attached to the plant, they're just going to die off. They're sticking out of the plant. Put it in there, sprinkle a little peat moss on top, give it a shake. Everyone see what we got here? Okay. So it's wet, went into the bag with peat moss. Seal it up and put it in the box. I get about a 2/3 success rate, but with lizard tail, 100%. So that's an auction item. That's going to go in the auction box. Label the bag. Let's get an auction. The auction boxes are tall for me. Auction or giveaway, I call them, regardless, whatever they are. Can put some more plants in here. I usually load this up, and then at my club or to friends, I mail them plants who want plants for the spring. That's what that's going to be. All right. Get some tape on this. These Post-it notes peel off over time. Even the tape peels off. If it gets moist in that shed, this tape peels off over time. So this super sticky tape should be good for a while. And that's an auction box. And that's where I'm going to start storing bags of plants that are cuttings. So some things I have to take cuttings for. They're just, and I'll do this. I used to put my water lilies that way too, and they do work, but it's more successful with the water lilies unless there's a big tuber sticking out. I have a previous live stream where I pulled a water lily tuber that was sticking out of the pot, just yanked that out, and we bagged that one up. So let me go get a razor knife. Let me go get my knife. Okay, I'm back. Let's see. Microfish. How do you figure out that Congo tetras could go outside? Well, I put them outside for the summer, right? So I put them outside when the water temperatures match what I'm keeping them in the aquarium. Then they stay out the rest of the year. They adjust fine to cold temps, and I took them in September, right? So I took them in when the water temperature started to stay. If when they before they got into the low 50s, then I pulled them in. Fish outside, if you get my book, Microfish, the Tub Pond Handbook, available on Amazon.com, which is the whole purpose of this stream. It's the next, it's the a companion to the book. It talks all about that, and it gives a fish compendium. The book has a fish compendium for fish outside and also a plant compendium that's quite extensive. And I update it every 1 or 2 years. So I'd recommend you get the book. It's on Amazon.com. If we ever see each other, I'd be happy to sign it for you. All right, so we're going to just shave this guy. Haircut time. See, what's great about these pair of gloves here, great about these potting trays is that you can shave right in them and the mess doesn't go all over the floor. So let me just grab a glove here. Pair of gloves here. Never use a knife without gloves. Okay, we're going to look at a cool knife right here. A pretty insane knife, actually. This is a multi-tool knife from Victorinox, which is incredibly silly. Look how many multi-tools is in here. It's crazy. There's also a pair of pliers. There is a magnifying glass, I guess if you want to get a tick out. Of course, all the various screwdrivers. There's a saw. There's the fish scaler, which no one uses, I guess, if you fish. And several blades. It's a pretty insane system here. The tiny knife. Of course, the bottle opener. But anyway, I'm just going to shave this here. This is already bursting out of the pot. They burst out of the pot every year, these damn things. So, little history of Iris pseudochorus and why I do this. I talked about this at the Clash. In the early 1990s, a person in the pond hobby wrote a very big article in the pond magazines and aquarium fish magazines. This is where people found out stuff before YouTube. And not everyone was on CompuServe FishNet or the news groups like I was at the time. And talked about the problem in the pond hobby was green water, right? They were trying to, UV sterilization was not really here yet, and it was expensive. And so he discovered, quite by accident, that he took some yellow flag iris and a little bog filter attached to the pond, held down by a rock, not even in a pot, and his green water problem went away. He created a vegetative filter. So when I started tubbing, I remembered that, and that's why I grow nearly everything in pea gravel. Because I want to breed fish outside, and I want really ultra clean, clear water that doesn't smell. Because I'm doing tub ponds on my deck, I have people over. All right? So and that is where that comes from. And if you look at a lot of ponds, the way they're built now, they have a bog area for plants. And I set up a few of my friends' ponds that way too. They do a great job. They keep the water clear without the UV sterilizer. So that's all prepped. Yeah, in terms of the book, the Tub Pond Handbook, I might be going to try over the winter updating that because I'm going to add to the fish compendium, but I'm not sure. I'm trying to do my live bearer book for I used to be the live bearer columnist at Freshwater and Marine Aquarium magazine and Tropical Fish Hobbyist magazine. This is all, right up until when YouTube started kicking off. We all read. People used to actually read. So, and I was the editor at the American Library Association. So I'm an old library guy. So I have all these articles I wrote from my experience observing the fish and breeding them and research I did that is just sitting there. So I'm trying to put it all in a book called The Anthology of Live Bearers. And I started it last winter and didn't finish it. I'd like to finish it and get it out there so it just doesn't die on my computer screen when I die. So that you can look forward to that as another sleep aid for the future. Okay, so I think we have now, I got to fill it up with 2 more plants. So I think what we're going to do is I'm going to find a couple more plants to fill up that box over there, put that on the shelf, and then get ready to build the Ricefish paludarium. So, if you go back on the previous screen, for those of you who just came recently, we tore down a Ricefish tub upstairs. We're going to do that now. Remember, you can eat anything you want. Eat what you want, by the way. Enjoy yourself. So we tore down the Ricefish tub. Sorry about that. Had to speak to the wife. Prepped the plants, gathered the Ricefish, came down here, and now we're going to build a paludarium in a little while. It's going to be a quick pop-up. I don't know when. If you're interested in seeing how we build a paludarium, you can. Um, Microfish, thank you for buying my book. I appreciate it. Hey, Mike from Fish Tank Barn is here. Mike, I don't know if you just heard my live bearer announcement. Mike and I are brothers and live bearers, and I made that announcement if you want to listen to it. Wow, Andy, you actually met the late great Greg Speakert. Yeah, that he's kind of the godfather of pond plants. His book again, if you're into this stuff, you have to get the late. He died at a young age. He was like only 40. He had like a heart attack. It was really sudden. Um, but his book, it's 20 years old, but it's still the Bible. It's a encyclopedia of water garden plants. There's also a small spiral-bound edition from Timber Press. You need that book. That book tells you in detail how to care for every plant that you put in your pond. And a lot of great tips. Greg really was a guy who would go deep into these plants and research them and not just rehash stuff like so many writers and frankly so many YouTube people who are creating content do. He really knew his stuff. So I didn't know that Greg was teaching the iris technique, which is good. You worked for Greg Speakert. Oh my goodness. I've got to speak to you. That's wonderful. His wife is still around. Very tragic, but man, both of them wrote that book together. I have to give his wife credit too. They both wrote that book together. So okay, so I'm looking. I think I went through all the questions. Are there any questions before I shut this down and then come back in a little bit to build the paludarium? We've been on here for almost 2 hours, believe it or not. So let me know. Okay, so I will see you shortly. All right, take care, everyone. See you soon. Have a great day. Remember, it's Cinnamon Day, so use cinnamon when you can.